Assalamualaikum and hi. Welcome to Introduction to Philosophy, and today we are going to talk about ethics. Related so closely with moral principle, belief and value. This is an introductory course. So here we are going to explore about definition of ethics and also the dimension of ethics, starting with the historical background of ethics, which is ancient Greek ethics. After that, we are going to explore further on normative ethics, meta-ethics, descriptive ethics, and applied ethics. Definition of ethics. I'm sure all of you may hear about ethics and feels that and believe that it is related closely to what is good and bad. In order to have certain moral duty and obligation as a human being. And you are right. But we are going to learn the dimension and the origin of ethics in this introductory course of philosophy. Here we are going to learn about how ethics turn out to be a set of moral principles through discussion and emergence of theory and system for moral values. Why we need to have ethics? One of the main reasons because we live in a community, so we need to have ethics in order to have the principle to conduct to govern people, individuals as a group of a community. So by having ethics, or we can also name it as a guiding philosophy, we will have a world that is less chaotic. A human being has the ability to control their action and behavior. And it is, as another definition, it is a set of moral issues or aspects in order to determine what is right and what is wrong. Right, so now let us learn further about where ethics derive from. It derives from the a Greek word called named ethos. And the meaning of ethos is custom or habit. It's focusing on questions related to how people ought to act or repetitively ought to act. Okay, this is why we call custom and habit, because this behavior is not only one-time behavior, but it's a repetitive behavior. And find the most appropriate definition of right conduct and good life. So it's easy. It sounds easy when we say we want definition for a right conduct and good life. However, when we talk about the conflicting interests of human beings, the questions of what will bring the greatest benefit for all, what will make everybody achieve certain eternal satisfaction and happiness, it will mean a lot of effort to consider people's situation, people's differences in terms of mind, culture, and others. So our first subtopic a second subtopic. We need to explore and understand the birth and when in ethics being discussed in depth. Of course, when we talk about ancient Greek, we will always remember Aristotle and Plato. Aristotle said that a question, how can we best live our lives? Yes, if we ask that question to ourselves, it's easier to plan, but it's not easy to apply it. But how about when it involves a lot of people? For example, now we are stay at home and living with our family members. Even within our family members, we still have differences and conflict of interest. For example, one of the Malaysian problem is what to eat today. So even that is also food. We already have certain problematic situation. Alright, so Aristotle introduced a concept called virtue ethics. Virtue ethics is a theory that distinguishes what is right from wrong. How do we know what is right thing to do? So, is the right thing to do for ourselves means it's good enough for everyone? Sometimes yes and sometimes not. So this is the complexity of discussion when we talk about ethics. Then Plato did come out with a concept called cardinal virtues. Consists of courage. You need to have courage to say the truth. Temperance. You need to be able to control your desire, to control your behavior. Justice. You need to be able to be justice. And prudence. Aristotle went further and started to discuss about a question or a conclusion or assumption that you are what you repeatedly do. In other words, it's all about habit. To what extent you are a really good person, it depends on how many times you do good deeds repetitively. So here we can see there are more than 10 criteria in order to have moral virtue. Again, he repeats similar with Plato. Both of them agree, courage and temperance. And you can see in ancient Greek ethics, there are 3 important concepts. Number 1, theological. Number 2, eudaimonia. Number 3, virtue. Theological belief there are no right or wrong thing to do. It deals with telos or purpose, the purpose and the consequences of the action. While eudaimonia is about to what extent we are able to have human flourishing effect by certain ethics. It's about how to get eternal happiness, not short-term happiness like watching movie and so forth, but eternal happiness after a lot of hard work, and we do feel the self-actualization and the satisfaction and good choice of living. It's beyond materialistic, it's beyond short-term having fun. Yeah? That is what eudaimonia is all about. And virtue, it's a balance between vice of deficiency, and the versus or vice of excess. So too much of virtue or less is not a good thing. So we need to balance the virtue. For example, in order to be a good person, we keep on sacrificing for others. So it might not be a good thing when a term or when a behavior, when you make people able to bully you. So instead of a moral virtue, it turned out to be a person who can be bullied by others. So that is not a good. Then we go to the types of ethics or the dimension of ethics. Here we have normative ethics. Discuss the criteria of what is morally right and wrong. And it's about the formulation, how to formulate the moral rules that have direct implication for what human actions, institutions, and ways of life should be like. So the formulation process, that is what normative ethics is all about. How basic moral standards are arrived and justified based on motivation, values, and reasoning. By formulating, then we are going to learn at the last dimension of ethics that we call practical and applied ethics. So normative ethics give birth to practical and applied. Theological and consequentialism. So this is the most important concept in normative, and it is about classical utilitarianism. I know it's a jargon word, but the meaning is simple, that every action is to be judged good or bad based on the consequences. It is all about minimize pain and bad effect. It sounds straightforward, but when it comes to the complexity of human being needs and interests, it turned out to be not that easy. So John Moore Principia Ethica wrote Principia Ethica in 1921 and said that the consequences of actions are deceived for their morality, but pleasure and pain are not the only consequences. So please answer this question. Discuss your moral belief on one of these issues. So you take one issue and try to explain to me the reason why you believe it is right and why you believe it is wrong.